Super Mario Sunshine, Mario's first relouting on the GameCube and the successor to Super Mario 64. It's also got a lot of cut content. Hello and welcome to the Cut Content Of, the show where we try to find content that you aren't able to see in some amazing games. This game, first released in 2002, contains a lot of cut content that was left in the files of the game, unseen by most players. But first let's go back to the first announcement of the game, at Space World 2001. The first footage of Super Mario Sunshine was rendered in 60 FPS, unlike the final game which only runs at 30 frames per second. Although it ran at 60 FPS, the game didn't have dynamic shadows and it missed a lot of graphical polish from the final game. We can also see that Piantas, Delfino, Plaza and the HUD all look different at this point in development. There's even a human girl at one point in the trailer, and she's not oversized like the humans in New Donk City. A trailer was presented at E3 2002, along with a playable demo of the game. The trailer has a lot of differences, such as a completely different logo, another different HUD, a different sound effect for sliding in goop, a thinner version of FLUDD, and a darker colour for Gooper Blooper. The demo at E3 was the special stage from The Secret of Casino Delfino, but with a different background to the final game, and the ability to use FLUDD. Although it uses the final logo in the demo, it still has the different logo left in the files. An Australian GameCube demo disc contained a video of Super Mario Sunshine. A few of the things you can see include a green Yoshi as no fruit was needed, a less detailed Isle Delfino, and the goopy piranha plant flashing the wrong colour. The game released in the second half of 2002 with a bunch of unused stuff left on the disc. There's an unused development version of the press start image for the title screen written in Comic Sans MS. The logo for the game is different in Japan, the US and Europe. You also can't disable the subtitles in the Japanese version. Super Mario Sunshine was originally going to have multiplayer, but it never made it into the final game. There's a function called SMS_is_multiplayer_map, which makes the camera use a different behaviour intended for multiplayer gameplay. It can still be activated in the PAL version with this action replay code. Shadow Mario was originally going to have a health meter displayed above his head. This action replay code works for the US version and allows you to tweak the colour to whatever you like. There's also a cut version of Mario, completely covered in goo. You can enable it with these action replay codes. At some point in development, the Nintendo GameCube logo was temporarily written in Comic Sans MS. Other unused textures include the word tank, which would have originally been used instead of water, a different version of the M from the opening screen, an arrow, a blue door with different shading to the ones in the final game, a version of this blue door with goop over it, a gyroid from Animal Crossing, a sign saying welcome, a banner for Corona Mountain, unused due to the fact that it isn't an episodic level, the shadow of the word Super Mario, a silhouette of Mario's face, and a blue coin possibly intended for the HUD. Although this blue coin isn't used in the main game, it is still technically used by a debug menu. You can also get to a stage select menu with these action replay codes. 2 test fonts also appear in the files. Some levels actually have parts of the map that you aren't normally able to see and therefore go unused. These include, out of bounds in the Bloopers Surfing Safari level, you can see the train track skybox. Corona Mountain also uses the same skybox. Most levels have the crater of Corona Mountain modelled, even though you never see it. A hidden book can be found in the red coins in a bottle level, which may have been something you had to retrieve in an earlier version, and there's a pier just off screen in the file select menu. If you can somehow get to it, it can actually be walked on. You can also see that the islands on the left have some extra geometry off screen. Mario has some unused voice lines in the files of the game. Here are some of the things he says.
Aren't I done yet? I'm beat. Hello, door. Oh, my head. There's more?
Ciao!
Cool. Feeling good. It's fun. Perfect 10. Primo. Too cool. Another door.
The theme from the Space World 2001 trailer is also in the files. The game files contain a test map used by developers called Test 11. This has a whole load of features in it which never made it past the testing stage. It's not in the Japanese version and a lot was removed from the European one. You can get to it with these action replay codes. The developer textures used are the exact same as the ones from the test maps in other Nintendo games, such as The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. This level's files contain a skybox which doesn't get used in this level. It is however used as the skybox for the Space World 2001 trailer. Here are some of the objects that you can see in this level, and others that are just unused in general. An ice cream cart with a handle, seen in the Space World 2001 trailer, but unused in the final game. It could have been created as part of a puzzle where you would have to move the cart and bounce on top, but that's not certain. A ball and a cardboard box were also shown in the Space World 2001 trailer, but unused. The ball can be kicked around in the test level. A drum can, which also has an animation for being crushed. A door that opens inwards, outwards, quickly inwards, and quickly outwards. A crumbling cube of rock which can be destroyed with a ground pound like the watermelon block. Some eggs with animations where they deform and twist. A hemisphere with a marble texture is in the files for the Corona Mountain boss. A shell with an animation of it opening, possibly originally used for accessing Noki Bay before it was cut. A brown brick block with the same animation as the file select blocks. A block that would have been used if no memory card was found, but instead the regular blocks get used. A a block called Normal Block, which has another variant which does get used in special stages, an early version of the boat in Delfino Airstrip and Pinna Beach, with an animation of the roof moving up and down, another boat which would have appeared in Rico Harbour, a third boat carrying logs seen in a pre-release screenshot. Flood could have originally had a Yoshi head nozzle early in development. Another possible nozzle was the Sniper nozzle, which has no model left in the files but is referenced as being 100 times more powerful with the charge time required. A layer of clouds in the sky was cut but seen in early pre-release screenshots. The disc that this texture would have been laid out on is still in the game but is completely invisible. A flat drawing of a Goomba exists under the ground, out of view in the roller coaster balloons level. In the files this is referred to as Typical Enemy, Test Enemy, Goomba and Cug. It's only half as tall as Mario and has these 5 different test animations. We can also see this enemy in some different unused pollution maps. Pollution maps are textures used to show where the goop will show up in levels. The test map has one with some drawings of enemies running around and one of Cug. Bianco Hills has some odd ones with Cug in it. These textures were intended for an earlier version of Bianco Hills with different geometry. This can be seen in some early pre-release screenshots. Noki Bay contains a pollution map with the Japanese for stupid written in the top left. This makes sense as it is stupid to have the goop underwater. Noki City also has a pollution map featuring Cug. Pinna Beach may have had goop at one point, as it has an unused pollution map. These are only images with the resolution written on them, however. Serena Beach features Cug again with an unused pollution map texture. There's also one with the resolution written in Japanese text, translating to Alpha, mostly black. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, make sure to share it with someone else who might be interested. Super Mario Odyssey had a load of changes between the original reveal and the final game. Click here to watch our Odyssey episode, or click here to check out our Mario Games playlist.